What's up, guys? Back again on the Blaze Branch Racing YouTube channel. I might be getting a little better with intros, probably not. Today we're going to be working on my 93 Jeep Wrangler. I've had this Jeep for probably about 3 years now. Love the Jeep. Just kind of got into some financial trouble with a wreck I had. If y'all have watched my YouTube, you know that like my first video, you can see me and my brother like rebuilding an S10 over here. It's actually this one, this beauty right here. It's my daily driver. Anyways, ever since that wreck, I've been pretty financially burdened. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to get this thing ready to sell. I plan on getting it fixed up a little bit. I've already done a whole lot to it. Runs and drives great. It's just, you know, some little things like, you know, some gauges aren't working right, and I think the cooling system needs flushed, and it needs some injectors in it. So we're going to do that. We're probably going to take the rims off of them, paint it, make it look good, and drive it down to the Jeep Invasion and hope to sell it down there to some lucky person who's going to get it. Hopefully this video finds you and you know that you got a good vehicle. So anyway, I'm going to kind of go over everything I've done to it since I've had it. It does have the 4.0 inline 6. It's got a 4-inch lift on it. I didn't put it on there. I bought it that way. Rough country lift. I've already pretty much got all my stuff like ready to go here because I'm going to flush the cooling system, but needs to be washed again. But I bought the hardtop and the full doors. Drove all the way down to Georgia, put those things on. I put new tires on it. It came originally with big mud tires, like 35s, and like you just could not keep it in the road. Like it looked good, but you just could not keep that thing in the road. So I went down to some 3110 50s, and it's just all-terrain tire. Does really well. As you can see here, like, you know, probably need some body mounts, but the frame is immaculate on this thing. So very hard to find a frame on a YJ that is just absolutely intact. The only place on it as far as like rust is gonna be this right here. If y'all can see that. Of course, that's, you know, typical on these things, but probably gonna need a rear shock mount at some point. It's still pretty solid right now, but will need to be replaced eventually. As far as like the body rust wise, there's this spot, you know, which is where somebody had put like this huge like carrier thing on it, and it was just way too heavy, and it had like this big mud BF Goodrich tire on it, and it was just weighing down. So I took it off like immediately whenever I bought the Jeep. Took it off. And then there's going to be some rust right here where the step, like the steps were on here. So yeah, I took those off because I seen the rust and I was going to fix the rust before it got too bad. But I'll show y'all the interior because I actually took like the whole dash out of this vehicle. Of course, right now I'm fooling with the instrument cluster, but if it will show you, probably can't see it much because of the, but I took like the whole dash and like this plate behind it out of the Jeep and painted it black, and it looks really good. Hardtop's really good shape. It's got a rear wiper on it. These doors are really nice. I got this cup holder, and like the way that it's like rusted actually makes it look pretty cool. Let me open up the back because I put bed liner all over the hardtop, and I also put it like all over the entire floorboard. which, you know, I've had it for 3 years. So, super nice Jeep though, guys. I mean, I really hate to see it go. I don't care to tell you. I'm really upset about it. But, you know how it goes. It's just life. So, maybe one of these days I'll have another one. But I was going to show y'all under the hood as well. That's where I'm going to be at today. Don't have all the injectors in yet, so I'm not going to change the spark plugs and injectors yet, but get that up there. Under the hood here, I painted the valve cover gold because I thought it was kind of funny. Here's what we're rocking with. Optima battery. Might take that out and keep it. Sorry to the next person, but since I've had it, let me think about it. I did a tune-up. So new spark plug wires, spark plugs, distributor cap rotor button, rocking a K&N oil filter because that's all we use. I did plumb in this for like a manual gauge for the temperature, but it quit working too. So I'm going to try to get all that resolved before I hand it over to the next guy. This is new idler pulley, new pipe on the water pump, new water pump, new thermostat. I did power steering hoses, did both of those. This is new, and that PVC, all the PVC stuff's new. I think that's all I did as far as under the hood so far. I will have new injectors and new spark plugs in as well. Now, if we go under here, as far as this goes, I know it's a little rusty now, but this whole bar is new all the way over. This steering shock is new, Rancho, new steering box, new wheel U-joints. Like I said, it is rusty now because we live in the Rust Belt over here. Now I drove it in the winter, but let's see what else is new. We did upper and lower ball joints over here, and I think that's pretty much it as far as chassis goes. It's got a really nice lift on it. They done it right, that's for sure. I don't really care much for a lift personally, but if I could take it back down to stock, I would. I did paint the frame, but it kind of peeled off, so I'm gonna fix that. And I don't think I did anything back here other than just, I think I changed the rear diff fluid whenever I bought it, and resealed it because it was leaking. So the rest is nothing crazy though. It's just around here where I live, they just use so much salt. So, you know, you just gotta recoat everything every couple of years if you want to keep it relatively nice. So, but anyways, we're gonna get into it here. I'm gonna drain all the coolant. You can tell just by looking in there, it is a lot of rust going on in there. Jeeps are bad for it, especially these year models. So, in my opinion, this is the last of the Jeeps. 4-leaf spring. So, sorry, not sorry, Jeep people. I'm not one of those Jeepers, so, you know, this is the last of the good Jeeps right here. The YJ, save the squares, all that stuff. All right, so we're gonna head on into it, y'all. We're gonna disconnect the little radiator hose. Probably gonna run all the way down my armpit, but you gotta love it. Oh God. Probably could have drained the radiator. That would have been a lot more graceful. The sheer beauty of mechanic work. You gotta love it. I know I love it. I'm sure all of you do. Alright, we're just gonna let that simmer for a hot second. Alright, we're gonna try to flush this radiator out a little bit. Yeah, it's really clear. That's a plus. I'm gonna go through here too. Of course, the thermostat's right there. I don't know, it probably won't go through there. We'll give it a shot. No. So if we wanted to do the block, we'd have to take the... we're not doing that. We do have some radiator flush, so... As a lot of you Jeep people know, these YJs, for some reason, like, the coolant temperature gauge is, like, weird. Like, I've had 2 of them. And they never do read right. And, like, you replace the back sensor back there. It's like a little 1-wire sensor. You replace it, and it don't help. And you're just like, what the heck? So, a lot of people do what I did here. And plumbed in this to the heater hose. Of course, it's not, like, super accurate, but at least you know something. You know, it's better than not knowing nothing at all. Because, like, if y'all are like me, I freak out about my coolant temperature. Not being able to see that is unfortunate. We're going to flush the heater core. There's just so much rust in this system. But, you know, it's just the Jeep life, y'all. You Jeep people know. It's just the way it goes. You love it and you hate it at the same time. It's a love-hate relationship. I'm going to flush the heater core here. And then I have some actual, like, cooling system flush I'm going to run through this thing. So we're going to fill it back up with water and all that. God almighty, I might need to get a new heater hose right there. I just replaced that not too long ago. Alright, I'm going to do the heater core here. Kind of wondering why my, like, this gauge that I, like, plumbed in, it just kind of quit working. But I guess, you know, they're not, like, the best in the world, so maybe I just need to replace it. Pretty much clean water coming out of that. So I'm gonna call that decent. But I'm also going to throw in that cooling system flush right quick. Y'all, that's a bad angle, y'all. It's funny. Another thing I forgot to mention that I replaced this whole like steering shaft right here. From here all the way down to the steering box. And then there's like a little bearing, like right in here. I replaced that bearing as well. So, I almost forgot about that. But we got all the cooling hoses reconnected. We're going to throw in that flush right quick. Here's what we got. Total cooling system cleaner. Total cleaner, oil and fuel remover. Supposed to clean everything, so it just says to drain the cooling system, pour contents in the cooling system and fill with water. Run engine for 10 minutes for light cleaning. For heavy duty cleaning, run engine for 36 hours. So I'm gonna just pour it right in the top of the radiator, I guess. Might as well. Don't have to be too complicated. It's like green. Hopefully I don't miss. Alright, to do that, just pour it in. And then fill the rest of it up with water. Not that fast. Probably should have poured this in instead of just spraying it in, but work smarter, not harder, you know what I mean? See, it's like foaming. It's cleaning. I'm gonna cut that out. Open the thermostat up. Runs pretty good. It does have some high mileage on it, but it runs great. It's hard to beat these 4.0s. Pretty sure that's the alternator. Pay no mind to that. It's a Jeep. Definitely alternator. So there's developed another problem. Pretty sure my alternator just quit charging. So there's that. That's not good. Hopefully we can get it to run enough just to clean out the cooling system. Alright, so current update. We're letting the Jeep run for 10 minutes. We still have 8 minutes and 30 seconds left. The alternator is no longer charging. So, whoever the lucky person is that gets this Jeep's getting one with a brand new alternator on it. It's like squeaking and carrying on. It's been doing that for a little while now. And I guess it just decided to like give up on me here. But I'd rather give this vehicle to someone that's, you know, I want it to be right. That's just how I am. But let this thing run through. I've got the battery tender on it right now. I'm gonna get the alternator tomorrow. But anywho, we're gonna let this thing cycle through. The gauges still aren't working on the cooling system. I was kind of hoping that maybe if I flushed out the system it might work, but it's still sitting at a big fat 0. This thing has a 4-inch lift on it, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but so we're rocking with like literally 10 volts on the voltmeter. Hopefully it'll at least go through until runs great, y'all. It really does. Oil pressure is wonderful. The voltage is slowly going down. It does like go up a little bit whenever I rev it though. Anyway, yeah, we're letting it run through. Okay. We're now going to drain it out. Should use the drain cock on the radiator, but you know, that just don't make for good content. We really need it to go right into the armpit. Okay. Yeah. I did it to myself. Full-blown armpit drench. Gotta love it. So that stuff's actually pretty good. Hopefully I can get it all out of the system, because it's kind of like got like suds in it, like soap almost, but it is oil based. It kind of has like an oily, like kind of like antifreeze, you know. I can feel it. So come to find out that the alternator is garbage. So I'll be getting another one of those tomorrow. So the lucky person getting this Jeep gets a new alternator. You're welcome. Like, look at how sudsy this stuff is. Like, that's just straight suds. Hopefully it did do a pretty good job cleaning, because there was a lot of rust in there, in the whole system. pretty much like all throughout, like even in the radiator hoses and stuff like that too. So hopefully it cleaned them up a bit. But can't crank it over now because I took the alternator off, so I'm just gonna fill this thing back up with water. Or not water. Gonna fill this thing back up with antifreeze, and then wait until I get the alternator tomorrow. So this will be multiple days that you're seeing in this video, of me just like working on it, getting it ready to drive down there. So I'm gonna fill it up, then I'll come back tomorrow. Okay guys, it's a different day. We're working on the Jeep again. New injectors. Significant difference in appearance. So as far as like the tips are concerned, I don't know if it'll focus in on that or not, but tip doesn't look terrible, but it runs like garbage. Well, not really like garbage, but it's like kind of missing and carrying on. And so I'm going to change the injectors and the spark plugs. So anyways, we're halfway into it here. I figured I'd just save y'all the trouble of filming all that, but I'll show you what we got going on here. I've just got the fuel rail loose, and I'm just popping them off one at a time and putting them in. So this is my first new one I'm putting in. The other day we got the cooling system purged, got it going, and a shiny brand new alternator over there. So I'll show you that new alternator is doing its job. We got the Jeep running right. So just making it a little better with these injectors and so forth. I'm also going to change the fuel filter. I got a Bosch unit. So I'm going to change the fuel filter before I crank it up with these new injectors. But I'm going to try to get it all done this evening. It's supposed to rain here in a minute. I know I'm under a carport, but going to try to get it all done this evening. But if I don't, it's okay. It's the work week, so we do what we can with what we have. That's all we can do. These are GB remanufacturing. Part number 812-11114. I don't know if that's backwards or not. It's backwards if I'm looking in the little camera. But yeah, I'm going to put all these injectors in, and I'll come back to y'all. We definitely need a MIDI mod. Coming soon. We got all the injectors in. Taking out the first spark plug. This is a relatively high mileage motor. I'd say it's probably got over 200K. But everyone knows that the 4.0 is the cockroach. The cockroach of the motors out there, so they're hard to kill. So I expect this to have a bit of oil on it. And as suspected, probably a little bit of fuel on there too. That's just the number 1 spark plug. I'm going to put them in order, the way I take them out, and show y'all at the end. It's an NGK V-Power. Probably had them in there, I don't know, maybe like 5,000 miles, if that. Oh man, I'm dirty. But we got the new auto lights. Sorry to the person getting this. I'm normally an NGK lady, but you know, at least I'm changing them, okay? Be happy about that. Now we're going to try real hard to make sure we don't cross thread this. No, we're good. I'm just joking. good and tight. And we'll just fish this back through. It's always so hard to pop on the spark plug wire. It's like, especially the straight ones. Okay. So I'm going to do all these, and then I'll show y'all in a line what they look like. There's our spark plugs, guys. So this is cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the main back of the motor. Probably got a little bit more oil coming through there, but you know, high mileage 93 model Jeep. It's the Jeep life, okay? Don't freak out. That cylinder 4 doesn't look very happy, but it's fine. It runs great, okay? So just pay no mind to that. It's the Jeep life, okay? It's part of having a Jeep. It's just, you just rig it up. But anyways, not going to get to the fuel filter this evening. Probably try to do it over the weekend because I don't think it's ever been changed. Might get a little squirrely. And it's going on like 8 o'clock here, so probably going to head on in for the evening, but I will be back to change the fuel filter. Okay, guys. We got new fuel injectors in, new fuel filter, flushed out cooling system, new alternator, new spark plugs, new coolant temp gauge because the other one quit on me. And we're going to fire this thing up. Alright guys, I'm back. So after the other day, whenever I got the fuel filter back on it, and all the new injectors on, and new plugs in, it still had a fish bite to it as far as like the running part of it. Like, it still had a fish bite. So I've decided to check compression on cylinder 4. That is the plug basically just like idling. Hopefully it'll like focus in on that. Isn't great. It's definitely burning some oil. Hopefully it's top end related. But I'm going to do a compression test on cylinder 4. And we're going to see what's going on there. Hopefully we've got plenty of compression on there. But we're going to find out. Alright, I have the plug wire disconnected. Got my compression tester on cylinder 4. And I'm going to crank it over a couple times here. Okay, good news, guys. Good news. It's got 120. It's not great. Not great. We're going to do it one more time. looking with about 130. I guess that's pretty good. It's probably about what this motor would have. I was expecting more like 150, but it's not like it's like 60 or 30. So definitely top end related. That is very good news. I mean, whenever this motor runs, it does kind of clack on the top end, but you know, everyone knows that the 4.0 liter Jeep engine is the cockroach of engines. So we're probably looking at like a valve seal or something along those lines. Oh, sorry. Probably a valve seal or something along those lines, which is just basically nothing. Well, I mean, it is something, but just do some top end work, you'd be good to go. I'm gonna test like another cylinder just out of curiosity. We got it on cylinder 3 now, which I suspect is fine, judging by just looking at all the other plugs like from earlier on in the video. Seemed to be fine. Cylinder 4 was, you know, questionable, but we know now it's got good compression. Well, pretty good compression. So we're gonna test cylinder 3 and see what we get out of that. Like 120. So probably just needs valve job. I'm gonna go ahead and test the rest of them. Good news, guys. We're not down on compression. Pretty much 120 psi all the way through. So pretty consistent, and I'm happy with that because that means that it's not bottom end, it's just top end. So that's a blessing. You know, not hard to pull the head off that, do a valve job, or even just do like, you know, valve seals, just head job in general. I mean, everything is just super easy to get to on these 4.0s. So, but because of how bad that spark plug looked, and just like in general, the, you know, Sevierville is about almost 3 hours from here, so probably not gonna make the excursion down there in the YJ, but I'll just try to put it back, you know, online, sell it locally, you know, let whoever buys it know it's gonna need some top end work. But altogether, guys, this is a really good Jeep. Like, save the squares, okay? Love this Jeep. I wish I didn't have to get rid of it. But there's the time. There's, you know, and it's just time. Done a lot of work to it. And, you know, whoever buys this from me, I hope you see this video, because I really love this Jeep, and I'm glad you have it now. And I hope that you build it and let it live on and take good care of it. You know, it deserves to be fixed and restored, painted. So anyways, I think all I'm going to do now, not this evening, but like the only other thing I'm going to do to it is I'm going to paint the rims. They're kind of like faded. I'm just going to like scuff them up and paint them black. And then I got some new lug nuts for it, chrome lug nuts. Paint on the frame a little bit and things of that nature. So whoever gets this Jeep, you got a new alternator and all 6 new fuel injectors, so you're welcome. There's the interior shot. There's all the new lug nuts I'm going to put on. And hate to see her go, but it's just part of life, you know, part of life. But thank you guys for watching. I don't know if I'll end the video here or if I'll video me like after I get the rims and stuff painted on this thing, but if I end it here, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, because it's pretty cool. We do some pretty cool stuff on the channel. We got more stuff coming on the RX-7. And then we'll have lots of stuff about this Rust Bucket Garbage 2500 over here that I bought. That is rusted from the ground up. That is still really cool. Blaze Badge Racing.